Let us get back to HTML Canvas, and we're going to build upon the last tutorial. So we've got our moving red circle. Here we have the canvas CDX, and we have created a red circle right here. But now we want to add a blue circle that scrolls from top to bottom and is animated, so it does that automatically. And our final game that we want to create using HTML Canvas should be about the red circle. For the user, it should try to get out of the way of the blue one, and if it hits it, it's going to be a collision and the game stops. For that we need a blue circle, so let us create it, and we can just copy paste what we've done for the red circle. I'll just rename it blue circle. X position, we can keep that, so we want to have it for now in center. So horizontally it's going to be centered just like the red circle, but the Y value we want to change it. We want to have it so that it starts outside of the canvas, so I use -20 as it has a radius of 20. That way we can be sure that the entire circle starts outside of our canvas on top. Let me just change the comment here a little bit. So initial Y coordinate for the blue circle is outside of the canvas on top by using -20. And speed, we don't want to have it as fast as our red one, so I'll make it 2. So this is just the movement speed for the blue one. Instead of clearing the canvas for the red one, we want to create a function that clears it so that we can reuse it. In the last video I've just cleared the canvas for the red circle every time we moved it using the keys. I'll call this function clear canvas cdx.clear 00 canvas width and height. And don't worry if you haven't seen this function, I'll make a specific video about that later on. For now, just accept these values, 00 canvas width, canvas height. And we can use it to completely clear our canvas every time the blue one is animated or the red one is being moved using the keys. Here we have our function to draw the red circle. We've done that in the last video. So begin path, we've used the arc, fill style red. Then we've called the fill and closed the path. Then we want to draw our blue circle. So copy paste this. Let me rename it to blue circle. We call it draw blue circle. We can keep most of the values. We'll begin the path. We use an arc. But here we need blue circle.x and blue circle.y. We've set that in our blue circle object earlier. X was the canvas.width divided by 2. And for blue, the y value was -20. Radius, we also make it blue circle radius, which was 20, just as with the red one. We keep 0 and 2 times math_p to have a full circle. Then we change the fill style to blue. We call fill and close the path. Here's our function to move the red circle. Nothing new, we've used switch statements, but I've also added a clear canvas inside. So you may want to add that to your code. And in the end I've drawn it. If this is new, check out the last video in the playlist for HTML Canvas. Now we need a function to move the blue circle. It should not move based on keys or mouse clicks or anything. It should move automatically, so it scrolls down from top to bottom via an animation. I call it move blue circle. And for now it should just move from top to bottom, so we'll keep the X position. Therefore we need only blue circle.y. And then plus equals blue circle.speed. It's the same as we did basically for the red circle, but here we've used arrow keys, and later on for the blue one we'll use the animation as I've said. Here is our speed 2, and the y value is -20, so every time it gets animated it will be -20 plus 2, and this should be done over and over until we've hit the bottom of the canvas or the red circle in the end. But for now we'll just focus on our animation and the canvas. So if the blue circle dot y value has become bigger than our canvas dot height, just as a reminder, here's the height 400. But be careful, we also need the radius of the blue circle because we want to have it fully disappear at the bottom. So canvas.height plus blue circle radius. This ensures that the circle doesn't get cut off. I'm going to show this later on when the animation actually runs. Then it becomes obvious. So if this happens, we want to reset our Y value for the blue circle, and it should be outside of the canvas again. Let me just comment this as resetting the blue circle to the top. We'll access blue circle, the object, parameter Y, coordinates, and this should be minus blue circle radius. We could also just say minus 20 because we know our radius is 20 right here. Alright, this function ensures that we have the animation jump back or reset to the top when we've reached the bottom. Let's move on. We want to initially draw our circles, so we also need to initially draw the blue circle. When we load the page, this ensures that we have both circles visible directly, and there is no delay, you could say, of one iteration. Here's our event listener for the key down. We've done that in the last video where we moved the red circle using keys. And now we'll take care of the actual animation of our blue circle. We've created it, drawn it, and made sure that it stays inside the canvas and resets when it jumps outside. I'll call this function Animate. And here's a typo yet again. I like to do this typo, I don't know. T and I always mix it up. But anyway, it's function Animate. We want to clear the canvas so that we don't have the animations drawn on top of one another. So we call our clear canvas function. Then we call the move blue circle function. And then we have to draw it. Here's our draw blue circle function. And inside we also call the draw red circle function. In principle, the red circle will also be animated that way, but it moves based on the keys and not based on what we add now for the blue circle. But we still add it to our animate function. And for the blue one to be animated, we need request animation frame, a method, and then simply use animate inside of it. And this makes sure that the animation continues over and over and over again. And finally, we have to call the animation, so our animate function, so that it actually starts. If I ever made typos and I refresh it now, then you can see, luckily I didn't make typos this time. The blue one starts at top, goes to the bottom, and when it disappears behind the canvas, it starts again on top. So yet again, we start with minus 20 and radius 20 so that it's outside on top. Speed is 2. Canvas width is divided by 2 so that it's in center. We'll fix that in a later tutorial and make this random. Let me increase the speed and you can see we actually can adjust this animation by doing that. We clear the canvas, this time we've created a function for it. so that we don't have to rewrite all of this time and time again. What else was new? Right here is our red circle. And we can move using the arrow keys. Here's the move blue circle, that was new. Function move blue circle. The speed is added to our Y value. As I've said, the speed is 2. So first animation, or the first iteration of our animation would therefore be -20 plus 2. So it will be -18, then -60, -14, and so forth. This is the way it moves with every iteration of our animation until it has reached the bottom of the canvas. Then we get rid, for example, of the radius here. As I've said, it now gets cut off at the center position, and that's not what we want. We want the circle to completely disappear at the bottom. This is why we've added blue circle.radius to our if condition. Now you can see it, the entire circle vanishes and not just half of it. We reset it to the top. Function for move the red circle, it still works. We've done that in the last tutorial. I used the arrow keys for this. And the idea is to have the user move it around so that it doesn't get hit by the blue one. We need to draw both. In this case, we could actually get rid of both. The first draw blue circle is for when the page loads, so that there is not one iteration of delay. And draw red circle, we don't actually need it anymore because it's also added to our animation. Therefore, it's only just for the first iteration as a delay that I've added it. But let us just keep it in. Simply a minor detail. Here's our event listener for the keys. We've done that in the last video. And here's the animation. Yet again, we have to clear the canvas every time. We want to move the blue circle automatically and then draw blue, draw red. And the request animation frame that uses Animate. This ensures that we actually have an animation. That's one of these inbuilt methods that we can use. Finally, we have to start the animation. If I get rid of the last line, you can see there is no blue run scrolling. Try to set it up for yourself, and in the next tutorial we're going to move on with this game. I hope this video was helpful, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.